So welcome back to another video, my friends, and in this video we are going to create a Twitter hover card. Now you'll be wondering, what is a Twitter hover card? Well, if I show you a demo on Twitter, what you can do is if you just hover over some profile, you'll see that a gist of that profile, right? So you'll see the name, you'll see the handle, and then you'll see the bio, and then you'll see the followers, and then the related stuff, right? So this is what we are going to build with CSS and HTML, which is with HTML and CSS. It's actually not going to be that perfect because we are just building it. It's something like a beginner thing. So this is how it's going to look like. Now this looks better, this looks, I mean, not better, but this looks good, and this is what we're going to build. So let's get started. So what I have here is I have basically an empty folder which I am going to open with code as always, and so we have Visual Studio Code right over here. So let's zoom in a little bit or a lot so that you all can see what is going on. So I'm going to create an index.html file as always, and then a styles.css also. And if you are wondering what theme I'm using the codeSTACKr theme by the YouTuber codeSTACKr. So he's a YouTuber, he's a wonderful YouTuber. Okay, so first off we are going to scaffold out our HTML, and we can basically do with this exclamation mark. So let's just do that, and here's our HTML, and let's just change the title to Twitter hover card. Here we go, and let's link the style sheet. And how do we link that? Well, you can do something like that, but I like to use emmet. So link, and then I say /styles.css. so we got our title, we got our link, and now we can basically open it with live server. So open it with live server, and here we go. It's just an empty page with this Twitter hover card title at the top. Let me just increase the scaling. Okay, so I increased the scaling, and now it looks I mean, a bit visible to you. And so right now we just have this head tag which is just doing nothing but doing this stuff. Now before even we do the HTML, I'm going to show you a screenshot that I took. Let's just copy this and paste this right over here, and let's copy the other image, which is actually the profile that we are going to put. Okay, so we have both of these images inside of our directory. So this is the example. Okay, we can take a look at this right now, but we are not going to, because you know what, you can just put it to the side and then you can just work on the HTML and then CSS. It's a very good way that I did, but we are not going to do that because I have already done it. Now in the HTML we are going to create a container div using emmet. Okay, and then we're going to create a card div. So basically the card will be the whole card that you see right over here. Okay, and then inside of the card we're going to create the profile div. Now the profile div will contain another div called main profile, and now inside of the main profile we're going to have these two things that we have. Okay, so you know what, basically we're gonna have this stuff and the button, the follow button. So this is what the main profile is. So now inside of here I'm going to create a user info div, and in the user info div we're going to put an image. The source will be ./profile.jpg, and the profile will be profile pic, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to put an h3 with the name, so that's Max Programming, because I'm building of my profile. And then we're going to put a p tag, and we're going to put the handle, so it's Max Programming 1. Okay, this is my Twitter handle. Now outside of the user info div we're going to create a follow btn div, in which we're just going to put a button with the text of follow. So here's our first part of our HTML. So this is how it looks like. Pretty crappy, right? Don't worry, we're gonna fix that. And now what we're gonna do now is outside of the main profile, so let's just go down here, we're gonna put the bio. Okay, so the bio is what you see right over here. This is the bio. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create another div called user-bio, and inside of the user bio we're going to put a p tag, and we are going to copy this bio, and I'm actually going to paste it. So oops, okay, so I paste it, and the problem right over here is that it will not actually format it. So if I just hit save, you will notice that the bio is not formatted, and we want it in formatted position, right? So there is an option, we can use the pre-tags, but in that case we have to forget this indentation that we are doing, right? So this is not what I like personally. So what you can do is, in this case, you can just add break tags. So I want a line after this, so I put a break tag, br tag, and then another br tag. Of course you can separate this to different elements, but this is a simpler way. Okay, so now if we go back in here, so as you can see, this is totally formatted, and yeah, these two are links, so we have to wrap inside of a tag. So let's create an a tag like so, and this is going to be the href, and this is going to be the text inside of it as well. Let's just same with this one. And I just realized we don't need this http:// in here, because you know what, in the, if we hover over the profile, you can see it's just the link, so we can get rid of this http:// completely. That looks fine in my opinion. Okay, so if we take a look right over here, we get this, and for yt we get nothing. What's the matter? Oh, it's something very fishy. So I never closed the a tag, so let's just do that. And yeah, hopefully we have done it. Okay, here is the URL, and now let's start working on the CSS. But before we do that, we want to create the following and the other stuff. So if we go outside of the user bio like so, we want to create a user follows div, and then so now here let's use emmet to create two divs, and then we want to do something inside of that, right? So I'm going to create two divs, div multiplied by 2, and we are going to have a b tag inside of it. So if we take a look at the abbreviation, can be, and so this emmet code will actually create two divs for us, and inside of the individual div we are going to have a b tag. So let's just add the following and a follower. So I think it has changed, so let's just use the updated values. Okay, now this one will have a text of following, and let's just copy this and let's paste it right over here, and this will be followers. Okay, we have done it, and we can give individual classes, but we are not actually going to style individual divs. Okay, so we are done with the HTML now, and let's jump on to the CSS, which is a bit fun and a bit boring part as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this browser window right over here, and then I'm just going to put this like so. So we have, like, I mean, we can just see the updates like so. Okay, so I've already linked the style sheet right over here. Now what we're going to do basically is, at first we are going to reset everything. Okay, so the margin and padding, all that and all that stuff, and I hope you know this. So I'm gonna use the universal selector, which is going to select all of the elements. So we're gonna set the margin to 0. We're gonna set the padding to 0 as well, and then we're going to set the box sizing to border box. And these are basically some resets. Okay, and we are also going to set the font family, and the font family will be right over here. This sans serif kind of, I mean, this is just a boilerplate, right? So we're gonna do that, and right over here, as you can see, everything updates. So we're gonna have, now we're gonna select the container. So inside of the container, we are going to have, we're gonna give it a height of 100 view height. Now I'm doing this because I want to align everything to the center, the whole card, right? So I'm going to set the display to flex. I'm going to set the justify content to center, and finally I'm going to set the align items to center as well. So everything is centered vertically and horizontally. Now let's select the card with the dot card, because we gave the classes already, if you know, okay, while creating the HTML. In the card, we are going to have a box shadow. So let's add a box shadow. We're gonna have the horizontal and vertical, both of those, 1 pixel and 1 pixel. We're gonna have 10 pixels of blur and 1 pixel of spread, and finally the color will be A1, A1, A1. Okay, hit save, and we get a nice simple border right over there. Then we're gonna have a border radius. If you notice, we have some rounded corners, right? So we're gonna have a border radius of 10 pixels right over here. So if we go back and save, you'll hopefully notice some changes in the border radius. Okay, so we got that done, and now let's add a padding. Let's add the padding for not actually 10 pixels, but it should be 20 pixels. So that's good. Now we have some padding. Now let's go ahead and style the main profile. Okay, so it's going to be main dash profile, and actually even before we do that, let's just make this image smaller because it is actually very big. So if we take a look in the HTML, it's inside of the user info div. So we can just say dot user info, and then we can select the image tag inside of it, and we can set the width to 100 pixels and the border radius to 50% to make it round. So to make it round, and save, and as you can see, the image is also aligned on the left, and it's round also. You might not be able to see, but if I inspect and show it to you, if I just move this to a separate window, oh, it's in a separate window, never mind. Let's just zoom out, and if I select this image, the image is actually rounded because as you can see, the corners right over here, okay, so the corners are not full. If I just comment this out, you'll see the corners are full, and if I get this back, the corners are not full, like so. Okay, so hopefully you can see the difference, so I don't need to show it to you. If you're using your own image which is not a PNG and like having a transparent background, you can of course see the changes. We got the image done, and now let's go up. Let's style the main dash profile. I'm bad at spelling it, profile. Okay, now the main profile actually consists of if we take a look in the main profile, let's just zoom out. Okay, hopefully you can see it. So the main profile consists of the user info and the follow button. So what we want to do is we want to display it as flex. Okay, so now the follow button is right over here. That's cool. And then we say justify content. That will be space between, because we want the space, we want a lot of space between the image, I mean all this stuff, and the button right over here. If I hit save, if I hit save, the button is right over there. And we are also going to add a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Okay, so we have a little bit of spacing for there, and we got that done. Now let's go to the user info again, so user dash info, and now we're going to get the name, that is basically the h3 tag. If you take a look, we have the h3 tag as our name. Now it will basically have a font size of 1.3 rem, which makes it a bit bigger, not that not a lot, but a bit bigger. Then we're gonna get the user info again, so user dash info p, oops, so we're gonna get the p tag, that's the handle basically. So we're gonna set the color of the handle to hash, and let's set this to 5b7083, kind of a gray color that makes it look realistic like this. So we got that done, and now let's style the follow button. So we're going to select the follow btn div and actually the button inside of it. Okay, now first off, let me just enable autosave so that you can see the changes right away. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is font size. So font size will be 1.5 rem. So as you can see, it automatically saves the file and you can see the changes, right? So the font size is 1.5 rem, and we're gonna have a border of 3 pixels solid, and the color will be the Twitter blue color, so 1D, 1D, A1 and F2. So this is basically the color. So as you can see the border, then we're gonna have a border radius of 25 pixels to make the border round like the actual button. Then we're gonna have the background color. Now the background color will be an RGBA, and basically the background color will be the same color as the border. So what we can do is we can just actually you know what, we can just copy this, we can just replace this with this, and in VS Code what you can do is you can just hover over the color, and if you click that color up there, it changes that type. Okay, so we got the RGB, and let's make this RGBA. Okay, so we get the alpha in the end, and we can set the alpha to 0, so it's totally transparent in the beginning, and when we hover over this, we're gonna make this like we have right over here. Okay, so we got that, the background color is done, and let's set the padding 8 pixels on vertical and 20 pixels horizontally, so it will be like so. And let's set the margin of 5 pixels to give it some room. Okay, so that looks better. And let's set the font weight to bold. Okay, so that's cool. Now let's set the color, and the color will be the same as the border color, so let's just use this. Okay, so we got the follow, and let's set the cursor to pointer. Yep, here we go, VS Code did that. And finally, when we click on it, we get this outline which we don't actually need, so we can get rid of this outline, none. So this is how it looks like. Looks a simple button. We don't have any hover effects, but we're going to do that real soon. And yep, hopefully that's it for the button. And now let's go to the next let's just add a hover effect. So I can just say dot follow button as always, follow btn, and then select the button and set the hover, and on hover we are going to change the background color. So copy that, paste that. It will be quite simple. We're just going to change this 0 to 0.2. okay, so this is kind of a it's totally transparent, and this is somewhat opaque because of the opacity or the alpha that we set over here. If I save, if I hover over this, as you can see, we get the hover effect, but it's not as smooth as this one. Okay, and this is how we do it with transition. So transition will be all to all the elements. I know we have just the background color, but it's easy to type all, I'm lazy. And then we're going to set the time to 0.2 seconds, and it will be ease in out. That's it. And if we hover over now, you can see it has a simple hover effect. We got that, and now let's style the user bio. I know it's not that obvious, but we have to, because the links and all that stuff. So let's select the user dash bio, and in the user bio we are going to set the color not to black but something else. So the color will be 0f1419. okay, it's kind of similar to black, but it's not black actually, it's kind of a dark gray. And also we're going to set the margin bottom to 10 pixels to give it some room from the following and followers. We got that done, and let's select the user bio again, user dash bio, and the every a tag, okay, every anchor tag inside the user bio will have the color of the border right over there. Okay, so as you can see, we got the color finally, and let's just disable autosave now. I added that only for the button, but that's fine. I disabled it, and now we don't need this underline as well, so let's just add a text decoration of none. Now in real world, when we hover over this link, we get the underline, right? So let's just do that. So how do we do that? So we do that by adding a hover effect to the a tag. So I can just select that again, just go up, select that, paste that, and add a hover handler. And when we hover over it, I just want to add the text decoration of underline. So we are done with the bio part as well, and once that's done, this is the final and one of the easiest parts, right? So let's just go down and let's set the user follows. Okay, now we have two divs containing these two items, so we're going to display them as flex. So display as flex. So as you can see, now they are like so, and we can set the color to #5. Actually this color will be the same color as our handle, right, the Twitter handle. So we got that color, but this text is the numbers are also looking pretty bad. So let's set the user follows. Let's just select the user follows, and every b tag, remember we used a bold or b tag inside of this, right? So it's a bold text, and for every b tag we're going to set the color to black. Whoops, what's wrong? Okay, black. Hit save, and here we go. I know they are pretty close to each other, so we're gonna separate them by adding some margin. So every div, and we're gonna add a margin right of 10 pixels. Hit save, and now this is the perfect, I mean not actually perfect, but this is very close to the hover card that you see. Okay, so this is very close, like so. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like it. Share it in your group and your friends, it will be very helpful to me. Like the video, subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any other videos like this, and finally, thanks for watching.